cloud.
A very good afternoon from a glistening Sydney Harbour for the final heat of the Club Championship for the 18-footers. A beautiful Sydney day. A lightish east-northeasterly at times and maybe north-northeasterly at other times. Breeze, a clear sky, and it's going to be a lovely day sailing. An interesting day breeze-wise, and I'm Peter Shipway, and very good afternoon to Andrew Buckland. Firstly, Andrew, this weather looks a bit tricky.
Yeah, Pete, that might be one of the good understatements of the day, I'd say, mate. For the viewers, yeah, funny sort of soft, hot water, no thermal, just a weak gradient northeasterly with northeast on the left edge and all quite strange in the Cumberland Basin, in the Sydney Basin. So I'm not expecting it to build, and none of the models had it building. We might see 12 knots, and I think most of the fleet on second rig, so it's going to be an arduous test of a strange kind.
Yes, it will be. I think every skiff's on the small rig, hoping, well, looking at the forecast, which was to be a lot fresher, as you said, as the afternoon wore on, but at the moment it's very soft and be just a nice big sail breeze. As we say good afternoon to Jimmy Bury. Jimmy, good afternoon to you, and let's go through the course for those that might be not familiar with our traditional northeasterly course.
Afternoon, Shippo. Yep, northeast course today. So we start down here at Clark Island, work our way up to the Beachel Buoy, just at the Sound Pigs there. And once they go around that, spinnakers are up and down around Shark Island, down to Clark, work their way back up for the Beachel Buoy, and then straight back down to Clark. Then around that mark and up they go again. Beachel Buoy, around Shark Island, and then head for the finish just off Double Bay.
The classic, Jimmy, isn't it? 2 mile beat, it's a beauty.
It's going to be a long one today with them being on second rig, unfortunately.
But the tide just about to start ebbing, so maybe not quite as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, the tide's not much though.
This combination with the flood tide, it would be a long day indeed.
Well, as I said earlier, it's the final race of the Club Championship, where they've had 15 races so far. This is the final race for the Club Championship, so every race this year is counted towards that. The series winner will be announced at the conclusion of this race, and at the moment it's the Winnings in front. John Winning Jr. on Andu on 43 points, leads his father John Winning, Woody, on 54, equal with Smeg on 54, and then Lazarus in 4th position on 69. And you'd have to think that it'll be fought out between those probably top 3. There's no discards in this Club Championship, so today will really decide who is the Club Champion for this season. Today's race sponsor is Lazarus, and they're bringing this race to you, and it's the final race before the JJs get underway next Friday with the invitation race, and we'll be here bringing all the races to you for the climax to the season. But let's have a look at some of the crews. There's a few crew changes today, and let's go to Smeg first, Jimmy. And as we saw a couple of weeks ago in that very fresh southerly when Smeg did the old wheel stand and Ricky Bridge got quite seriously injured. Bring us up to date on the news on Ricky and what's happening with the Smeg team.
Yeah, chatted to Ricky this morning. He's on the mend, feeling a bit better every day. Quite a deep laceration just above his knee was a result of that capsize just off Bradley's there. He's able to walk on his leg without much pain, but still restricted in the range of movement. He has a doctor's appointment on Tuesday to get the stitches out, and we'll know what's going on there, whether he's got to have further surgery or what the case may be. But he's hoping to make the JJs, but the Smeg boys, I've seen them on Wednesday training, and had to sit around over at East Esplanade for a bit. They delayed me from getting to a beer for a while, and they had none in their trailer, so we'll have to address that. But James Doran's jumping in to fill in for Ricky at the moment, and Doz is actually, I thought he'd been out in a good paddock for a while, but he's actually been off doing some triathlons and so forth, so he's quite fit and just trying to get his head back into sailing. And so, you know, James Doran joining Tommy Anderson and Michael Coxon on board the Smeg. I don't think they would lose too much. They're very similar in weights between Ricky and Doz. So, I think they haven't lost anything there having Doz. And if Ricky comes back, I think it's a pretty seamless slide in and out.
Yes, we certainly wish Ricky all the very best, and hopefully we'll see him next weekend, but maybe a big ask, but I'm sure the doctors will go in the right direction for him. But so James Doran comes in there on the Smeg, filling in for Ricky Bridge, and Andu this week has 2 crew changes. John Winning Jr. at the helm, Herman, but both his crew of Sevi Jarvan and Sam Newton are not here. They're away racing Etchells at Gosford for the state championships. So filling in there is Lewis Brake and Harry Smith. And they will be only here this weekend, and next weekend Sevi and Sam will be back for the JJ Gilton title. So Andrew, this breeze, it's certainly not building any great strength at the moment. We're seeing boats going upwind and really looking for pressure, aren't they?
Well, Pete, and structurally it is odd. It is kind of true-ish northeast on the right edge and northeast on the left edge. And the last time I was able to check, down towards the Harbour Bridge at Fort Denison, it was still had some more easterly bias in it. So quite unusual, but not dissimilar to what happened yesterday. So it's just a sort of weak version of yesterday, where there's less wind on the right edge and less wind in the middle and more wind and further left on the left edge. So quite a difficult to comprehend structure, let's use those words, but driven partly by the water temperature, but a bunch of other factors as well. Water temp, according to our instrument here on the boat, 23 and a bit, so pretty warm, but again, the offshore water, 27. So I'm not expecting it to build in the race time. And just to be correct, Pete, none of the models had predicted a build in race time either. And the weakest model had it down in single figures, below 10. And so it's an unusual day.
Okay, well, as usual, we say hello to all our loyal friends from around the world and from Australia, but we'd like to say a big hello to our two youngest fans. There they are, all the way from Carlisle in Cumbria in England, Heidi and Austin Lyons. Hello to you guys. Their dad, Matty Lyons, tell us they get up every morning in England and are avid followers. So to Heidi and Austin, I hope you're enjoying the coverage. And a big shout out to you guys, and one day, who knows, you might be down here sailing one of these great skiffs. But also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click the settings and click the HD and turn off the closed captions. As we're just watching the skiffs now, we've got about 10 minutes to go, I guess, to the start. And the skiffs have all gone upwind and now just coming down quite softly downwind with their spinnakers.
Breeze a little fresher on the change of the tide, as the old blokes used to say. Here we go. But Pete, just a couple of other crew changes. In the bow of Noakes youth today, Aidan Mansley, solid 80 kilo 49er crewman, and comes with good recommendations. And 2 of the European boats in the fleet, Hoffler House, Holger Hoffler, Cam Donatus, and standing in the bow, Fergus Stabak, son of the famous David Stabak, a long-time 18-footer sailor, primarily in the Grand Prix era. So, quite a selection of new and replacement faces in the fleet. And we wish the Germans well. Tricky day, but the low-range stuff might suit them.
Yes, well, there's our sponsor for today, Lazarus, Marcus Ashley Jones, Rob Bell and Geronimo Harrison, a strong contender for the JJs. But also the other, I guess, big news is everyone's been waiting for Sean Langman to make an appearance. Well, he's out here today in the Big Pete, named after his father, with Ed Powis and Reese Mara. So Sean's been over in New Zealand, down in Hobart, and he's out here today. So it'll be very interesting to see how he goes. And I think a lot of people have been waiting for his comeback. Well, it's out here now, and we'll soon see if he's got good form or not.
Pete, we might see his what looks rather large second sail perform today in this low range stuff, you know, so if it was in good condition, we'd expect to see him on the podium, I think, today.
Well, just looking ahead a bit as we're waiting for signals. We've still got about 8 or 9 minutes to go. We'll update you as we go on, but next week the Giltmans begin on Friday with the invitation race. And as Andrew said, there'll be 2 Germans. There'll be no New Zealanders coming across, but we believe 2 boats will be down from Queensland to bolster the fleet. And unfortunately, no one from New Zealand. And then next Saturday and Sunday, there's a heat each day. Then there's a lay day on the Monday. On Tuesday, there's 2 more heats. Wednesday, 2 more. Thursday, 1 race. A lay day on Friday. And then the following weekend, 2 heat on the Saturday and heat on the Sunday. And there it is. Starting the Friday, the 3rd of March, which is next Friday. It's the invitation race, and then we're into it. Full steam ahead next Saturday. For the JJs for this year, and I think it's pretty wide open, Andrew, at this stage, wouldn't it be, this the title?
Yeah, no, there's probably 6 boats or 7 boats in that fleet that can win a race and rack up enough of those, and you've got yourself a trophy. But it's a long regatta. It's a tiring regatta. The race structuring makes it tiring, and consistency will be rewarded. So we'll be talking about that next as we ramp into it next Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, 9 races, so
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of sailing to be done in that series. But the breeze now, we're still in the nor'east, I guess, here is Andrew, or maybe a little Andu Gay off the starting line, looks reasonably high on starboard.
Yeah, so as we discussed, we're seeing Andu laying up well above the headland from the windward end, so well above Bradley's, but the breeze probably nearly 30 degrees further left on the other shore. So, and as we discussed, low range second sail.
Yeah, the breeze, 11 knots, 12 at best, I guess, trying to build a little, but all skiffs on their small or number 2 rigs.
Well, Pete, in 12, they're full stretch. It ain't 12.
Yeah.
And probably the vertical velocity gradient's pretty significant, I think.
Well, as I'm talking to Michael Coxon's father, the very highly credentialed Rick Coxon, who was in the park and an avid follower, he said to me it's a low high tide.
Low high tide. That would only come from Rick, right?
Well, if you think about it, it's not bad. It's a low high tide.
Oh, that's right.
It's not a high tide. It's a low high tide, so it will have effect. Just starting to run out now.
Yeah,
and a few white caps appearing, which might be tight against wind, but maybe a bit more breeze.
Mostly powerboat wakes, Peter.
Oh well, there's a bit more pressure from when we first came out half an hour ago.
Yeah,
there's the starting boat.
And if it's any replay of yesterday, which I think, you know, structurally it is, it doesn't get any better than this. You know, it builds at the change because of the change in the local thermals, but it stays like it is or a little softer as the day goes on.
Okay, there's the signals. 5 minutes to go for the final heat of the Club Championship, race 16. And this is the final hit out before the JJs that begin next weekend. Rag and Famish would be highly favoured. They had a very good win 2 weeks ago. There wasn't a race last weekend because of the Sail GP, and unfortunately they had a disaster and couldn't get the racing done, but there was no 18-foot skiff racing. But Rag and Famish come in as last time winners in a very strong southerly, and I think we'd still highlight the great performance of Noakes Youth 2 weeks ago when they got second to Rag and Famish. They got round the course in very tough, strong southerly conditions and to put in their best performance for a second place.
No, it was terrific. So, shippers, I think for all our viewers, we should also acknowledge the passing this week of our old ocean racing mate Sid Fisher, famous Australian ocean racing yachtsman, who over a period from about 1970 to about the year 2000, very prominent in offshore racing in Australia. Shippers, you didn't have the fortune of sailing with him, did you?
I did 3 Hobarts with Sid. 3.
How'd you survive that long, mate?
Well, he was a tough old bugger, but he was a terrific bloke to go to sea with. You know, he drove the boats hard, he drove the crew hard. And, you know, it's a sad time for Australian yachting because he really introduced a lot of people to sailing. He gave the industry, the yachting industry or the sailing industry, a real thrust. He had new boats every 2 years, a lot of new sails, a lot of new masts, a lot of new equipment, and he'll be sadly missed. He toughed it out over the last few years not in great health, and he was only a week short of his 96th birthday. So I think to everyone in yachting, and I'm sure they join with me in, you know, saying well done, Sid, and thanks for your efforts, and you'll live long in our memories, and to all his family, our deepest sympathies.
Yeah. And, you know, for the viewers, I worked for Sid for a while and sailed with him quite a bit, but he was kind of Captain Bligh in reverse, in fact. On land, he was Captain Bligh, but once you got to sea, you were dealing with a much more straightforward individual. You know, he was very practical and would take advice pretty readily. So once you're off the dock, I found him pretty easy to deal with. On the shore, not quite so much.
Oh, he's a pussycat. If you got the better of him, you could really stand up to him, but not many people could. Yeah. But anyway, well done, Sid. A great life, and you will be missed. Yep. But anyway, we've just done over 2 minutes to go in this 18-foot race here on the harbour. The breeze, 11, 12-ish knots from the maybe east, northeast. We'll settle at northeast. And what is it, Andrew? First to Bradley's again, do you think?
Yeah, ebb tide, and pressure is on the left edge. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I'm not sure quite how the top end of the beat will play out. Anything like yesterday, you can't stay in the middle, so you've got to keep pinging away on the left side, I think. And looking at the line that the committee's put in, pretty nice, so everybody gets a good shot at it. And typically when they're all under rig, Pete, they don't get to the line in time.
They're going to be well behaved, is that your call?
Sort of well behaved inadvertently, I'd say.
There's not much traffic on the harbour. I'm just looking up towards Manly now, like compared to normal Sundays.
Oh, Jimmy, you might regret that statement in a minute or an hour. I'm not sure when.
I think when they all run out of drink up at quarantine, they'll come roaring around Bradley's.
I'm not worried about Pete's, mate. I'm just saying, just worried about, yachting-wise.
Yep, no, it looks pretty clear track with just coming up to a minute to go.
Okay, so Noakes at the windward end, we can see Noakes Youth at the leeward end with Yandu. That's and the one boat only's got big rigging, which would be the Marine Outlet. Okay, that's Cam Gundy, Johnny Walton and Marcus Sampson. Yep. And they're coming in from 3 seats from row F. Pretty distinctive though, Pete, isn't it?
Okay, the majority stacked up at the weather end here.
Yep. And the water actually pretty bumpy relative to the wind speed, so this is actually quite difficult conditions.
30 seconds to go. Harry Price is up here with Rag and Famish. He's been a very good starter in recent weeks.
He's been terrific, but he's too close to the line now.
20 seconds, yes. He's got to put the brakes on.
Go to full stop here. They're all early. There's no way. There's no way. Let's just blow her up, boys.
Yeah. Yep. There's got to be a general here.
So the committee will look at it and go, well, everybody wanted to be at the boat, so that's what's caused the recall.
Yeah.
Breeze too far right, and
so the little rigs didn't hold them back that time, Bucko.
Well,
foot down. It's our story. Once one goes, they all go, don't they?
They tend to all go. Yep.
So they're all just standing out now on starboard, but it is a general recall, and they'll be looking for a bit of pressure, I think, going upwind, but they're starting to bail out now and come back.
Oh well, and the breeze might just build a little while all this mucking around goes on.
So we're going to do it all again, but anyway, I suppose it's good practice for the Gilmans.
We don't want general recalls, Peter.
No, we don't. We want to get underway.
I think they should start on like they start the trotting horses. Have a big gate, everybody in a hole, and let it rip.
Bucko, slow down. You're really getting carried away.
It's just an idea, Peter.
That Mardi Gras got to you for those comments. You relax.
Oh dear. Well, Peter, I can see you washed the glitter off pretty well. I wasn't so thorough, you know.
It's the lipstick that's the worry, though.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, there's Rag and Famish, Harry Price, Josh McKnight and Harry Hall been in good form. Started very well in recent weeks.
So, Pete, you see the breeze now here. It's now softened and turned further right since they started.
Yes.
Right down at the boat end. But at Bradley's Head, 0.8 of a 0.6 of a mile away, where they need to get on to port, it's probably true nor'east almost.
Yeah, and they're not moving the pin mark. I don't think the pin end of the line, are they? There's a boat down there, but no, I don't think they are. So it's the same again. The same starting line again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, strange days indeed. Oh well.
Well, it's a gorgeous day on the harbour. It's some high cloud. It's almost full-on sunshine. Warm water, about 23 degrees on our thermometer on the camera cap. How accurate is that, Jimmy?
I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay, well...
3 decimal places, Pete.
I reckon the blokes at Garmin might know a bit on how to get these things right.
Yeah, well, we assume they will. So it's 23.13 degrees, so it's warm water.
And as we noted, the water offshore still 27, which is somewhat extreme. So 30 miles to the east of us, out on the deep water at the shelf, the EAC coming down from the Coral Sea, and temperature up to 29 in the reef at the moment.
It's the signal's down, so roughly 6 minutes to go.
So the breeze hasn't done much, Andrew. Has it maybe gone a little to the right, do you think? Or it's hard to tell, isn't it, really?
At the committee boat, it's now softer and further right. At Bradley's, it's sort of nearly nor'east, not quite. And we'll have to see what happens when they get to the left edge. But like I said, if it's a replica of yesterday, and from a, surface gradient standpoint, there's virtually not any difference, and the thermal effect is the same as it was yesterday. So it's a bit unusual.
So just waiting for the 5-minute flags to be hoisted, which should happen any second. And we'll be underway again for the second time. There we go.
So the little puff that came down for the first start has lifted off, and we've got probably 2 knots less wind looking upwind now for a fair way out of the start line. So below full pressure for the second rig at the moment on the line, I would estimate.
A few 12-foot skiffs just coming across the starting line. Their race is underway. But our focus here, of course, is on the 18-footers, where there's Clark Island, where the leeward mark will be each time, and the finishing line. And that's the view that the committee have got, looking back down towards the pin. Okay, 4 minutes to go. Let's see what we're going to get this time. I would think if it's another general, we'll be under black flag, wouldn't you think, Andrew? But let's hope they're not. Let's hope we can get away cleanly and clearly for the second time today.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, it's sort of weird, isn't it? Because this is a long racetrack, and you're not going to win it on the line.
No.
As long as you've got clear air and you don't have to duck too many people, you've got a lane somehow, you'll be okay.
I'm seeing a touch more breeze, Andrew. That's what I'm seeing.
Whatever happened a minute ago is now reversed, and we're now in on the front of a little puff.
Really 12 knot-ish.
Yep.
Okay, will they be keen to get to this windward end again?
Pretty characteristic of warm water, though.
3 minutes. It's final heat of the Club Championship. Today's sponsor, of course, is Lazarus, with 2 boats out here. And that Lazarus Youth with Hugo Stoner, Hugo Leeming and Hamish Vass. And, of course, the big boys in Lazarus, Marcus Ashley Jones, Rob Bell and Geronimo Harrison.
So the fleet showing all the signs of doing the same thing again, Peter, if we want to.
Except for Smeg, that's right up here on the left of screen.
Well, they're just trying a different approach. Wrong side of the line, let's have a shot.
Put the blindfold on.
Who knows?
Come in hot.
Doro influencing, do you think, at all?
Well and truly.
Well and truly. But they're exploring what is going on there in the structure of the wind towards the left edge, which is quite different. We are seeing now another line of pressure coming down from the right, turning it right. So the boat end will be favoured again, Pete. Quite light at the committee boat, but 100 yards advance, not too bad.
Yep, they're starting to stack up with just under 2 to go. 22 boat fleet. 2 competitors from Germany. That's the Black Knight and Hoffel House, skippered by Holger Hoffel from the well-known Hoffel family.
Right, Pete. From the village of Hoffel, indeed. So, Pete, we'll be looking forward to seeing if we can get our good mates on the marine outlet in the front row with that big rig and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, they've been pretty good with that big rig and in lighter airs, but they'll be on the maximum today.
Well, I think you'll find it might pay.
Well, we'll
It'll
see.
definitely pay going off a breeze, right?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. For the second time.
They're
early again, aren't
Early
we?
again, Peter. I'm sorry.
Fisher Paykel's well advanced. Jordan Gertis here.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. 3 lengths from the line with a whole minute to go.
Andrews boxed in. A bit of yelling, bit of screaming. That's good 18-footer stuff right at this windward end with still 40 seconds to go. Andrews put the hammer down and trying to advance. Smeg's down to leeward with the kitchen maker. Oh, Finport's up here. Keegan's up here. Trying to slow down.
Guys, what are you thinking? I mean, it just doesn't work.
How long we got? 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, Smeg's the most leeward boat.
Smeg's just gone, we're just going to start safely. Andrew might escape because he might be able to get room.
Lazarus is not going to escape, I don't think.
No, he's over.
Got 10 seconds to go. Lazarus is going to block a few. There's going to be a few over.
He's going to sail around the boat, I'd say, Jimmy.
Or he might keep going. Birkenhead's jumped out. Oh, I was sure and putters. What's he going to do? The starter?
General.
One hooter. There'll be another hooter, I think, yeah. Okay, another general. So we'll do it all again. Will we see the dreaded black flag appear?
It's not the dreaded black flag, Peter. It's the only solution.
Well, Bucko picked that from 50 seconds to go, like it was madness.
I mean, Jimmy, you know Ian Murray as in well enough. He would always
Sort of
say,
know the guy.
yeah, happy to start in row B if that's required. No problem. Don't worry about it.
So, to the uninitiated, Andrew, explain, well, we haven't seen a black flag yet, but if we do see a black flag, what does that mean?
It means that if you are in the triangle between the ends, drawn between the 2 ends of the line and the windward mark, in the last minute before the start, you are disqualified without a hearing.
And without a recall.
And without a, yeah.
And also that if there is another general recall, you can't start in that race.
That's right.
Your day is over.
You're done.
Yep.
Go back to the bar.
So it is really, I can see a black flag being assembled on the stern of the committee boat.
Yep.
So we're into black flag, which makes sense. So it means your day is well and truly over basically before it starts, because you don't start if you're over. So you've got to be very, very careful.
And one of the official vessels will come and inform you that you are no longer allowed on the course.
So there's no recall sign or anything with a black flag. If you're over, you're over. The only signal they'll make if it's a general recall. But if you're over, your day is over. You cannot start in another resale race. But anyway, this will be a good warning to them. They'll all see that black flag, and they will all, you would hope, be well behaved.
Yeah, good luck with that, Peter. What have we seen, Jimmy, historically in black flags? We've usually seen somebody infringe, haven't we?
Well,
often.
yeah, like you know, I actually was witness to...
In this fleet.
Yeah, but I was witness to one where a person was supposedly pushed over by another boat and they got redress for it. And we were just like, how does that happen? Like, the rule's the rule.
The rule is the rule, yes. It's not about that at all.
No.
That's just an inexperienced protest committee, I would assume, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. We stayed right out of it.
Good place to be, in fact, yes.
There's Lazarus just tacking, and there's our German friends just tacking at the committee boat. That's the Black Knight.
A few of them will be re-pinging the ends of the lines now with their machines.
They're working on it.
But it's not as accurate. We always used to do a little bit back, just to be on the safe side.
So 5 minutes to go for a third time with a black flag in play.
Hopefully we've got enough film in the cameras.
What about fuel? We got enough fuel, Jimmy?
Fuel, we're good.
Okay, good. Wouldn't expect anything else. So 22 boat fleet, as I said earlier. 2 Germans are joining us, and the fleet will be bolstered next week by 2 boats from Brisbane, where they've been training, I believe, with...
And also a Japanese entry, Peter.
Is there?
I'm told, indeed. Late call up. Well, let's see what turns up on the line on the invitation race.
So 4 minutes and under black flag.
So, Pete, look upwind now and tell me.
Ooh.
12, 11, 10, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Might be some single figures there too.
Exactly.
Ugh.
So it is a dead set replay of yesterday.
So, Andrew, just talk to us. How do they best power up their rigs? What do they do here?
Well, I mean, you know, they be in dead soft rig settings, so side stays off to the maximum extent, trying to get enough head stay sag to get the entry of the headsail deepened up, and also because of the way the setup is, as the rig rotates slightly forward, we'll use that terminology, it straightens the lower part and deepens the half height of the mainsail, getting the middle edge of the mainsail up. So you're looking at a kind of jumbo jet on landing type at the half height of the mainsail. Flaps down, back of the mainsail each hooking up a little bit. Not concerned with efficiency, just trying to get maximum side force, is a terminology we would use, trying to maximise the crew rate on the wing.
So they can change the rigs during the race, can't they? The tension, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
That's quite allowable.
It's not, you know, it's not a huge amount of adjustment because the hulls are stiff now and the carbon tube masts are pretty solid, and the whole setup is fairly controllable.
Yes.
40 millimetres of side stay movement is sufficient. And that compares to, you know, perhaps more than double that in the olden days when we had hydraulics and aluminium masts.
Weren't hydraulics fun?
Weren't hydraulics fun, yes, exactly.
When they went?
Yeah.
Well,
if anybody wants a real challenge, they could try sailing an 18-footer in a bit of wind with hydraulic fluid all over the deck, and you'll discover a degree of difficulty that you didn't know existed. Anyway,
try out for the Winter Olympics with Torble and Dean.
Exactly.
We'll be away.
Enough of that. Anyway, here we go. 2 minutes.
Yep, and the breeze is light, if anything. Lucky to be 10 knots here at the start.
Yep.
And we're going for the third start under black flag.
And guess what, Pete? The fleet's a little further back.
Surprise, surprise.
And a bit more spread out. Who would have thought?
Okay, we're...
Amazing what one flag does.
Yeah. One small black flag.
Black flag.
Exactly. 1:30. Noakes towards the leeward end. Noakes Youth down there. Rag and Famish, Lazarus.
Well, Smeg was down there last time. Where's he ended up? Oh, he's down there a little. He's
just coming over on...
tacking onto starboard.
Yep. Midline.
Yep. So we've got minute 15. And they're well back. Kitchen Maker's the furthest to leeward. Fisher Pike's down there as well. Noakes Youth are down the leeward end. Rag and Famish, middle of the line.
And Andrew right up high here with the second German boat.
That's the minute hoot up. And we're looking to see everyone's well behaved. Not so many boats right at the windward end at the moment. Where's Andu?
Well, Pete, to some degree, it'll still pay to get to the current, which is ebbing, and there is more wind 100 yards away from the start line than there is at the line.
So you're right, Andu's way back behind the committee boat. He's taking no chances with 29 seconds to go.
Well, he's kind of got to just finish to win the club championship, so
Yes.
I don't think he needs to take any risk, does he?
Okay, 20 seconds. They're well back.
Oh, they're still looking a bit jumpy at the boat end for my money, Peter.
Yeah. Lazarus is a little advanced. Okay, 7-0. I think they're going to be all clean here. Pedals down,
yeah,
3,
go.
2, 1. Smeg jumped out nicely.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, we're away.
Yep. So
Rag and Famish, very good start in the middle of the line.
Pretty good in the middle, don't they?
And Anders still to go round the back of the committee boat.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll bother them at all.
No, he right down to leeward. It's Fisher Pikeall. But we're away to Bradley's on starboard. Oh,
Just 2.5 strings for most of the boats. A little bit of squeezing.
Andrew missed it badly. He's in the gas of a few boats, but there's the fleet, majority on starboard. Smeg standing out nicely.
Yeah.
And we'll I think they're all clear. Maybe we'll check in with the committee boat at some stage, Jimmy, to see if it was all clear, but I think they were right, Andrew, don't you?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to push up where we normally sit because of the Andu got up our tailpipe.
So, Peter,
Struggling for pressure, aren't they?
Rag and Famish leads, and Marine Outlet, who started in row C, is now making their way into row B or row A.
Well, he's the only boat with the big rig.
Yep.
And, gee, it looks soft. The boats furthest to the left that start down the pin egg, they're really struggling. One guy's sitting in on most of the boats.
Yeah, Pete, just heard from Ripple's side, clear start, so all the players are all in.
Okay, that's good news. So everyone's in play.
So who's got the most grunt here, Jimmy, with the second rig? Finport, looking pretty fast.
Well, yeah, I think Finport, and the other one that I was seeing that looked pretty big was Yandu. So
Yeah, no, big sail.
yeah,
And Note should be in the hunt here somewhere as well. On the
Yeah,
left,
or
on the,
Big Pete.
on the left edge, down with Smeg. Yep.
They're 3 stringing. The boats to windward are 2.5 strings at times.
So Pete, the boats on the right hand side are still in the softer easterly flow, and the boats nearer to Bradley's are in the slightly stronger northeasterly flow. Yeah. And we've got a cruising boat coming across the front of them here. Wow. Does he know what he's doing?
I'd say no.
Had a guess.
Just with a jib up, they'd be...
Boarding.
Oh, it's going to be right in the way of the Royal Oak here.
No, he's going around the back.
Yeah.
It's made
Okay,
a
the race to Bradley's is on.
bit of a hole in the wind.
And,
But
I think
anyway.
it's Smeg and Big Pete will probably be close to the lead. Big Pete's doing a nice job. That's Sean Langman.
And here he goes, going through the bumpy water off the back of the ferry.
They can't go too much further, or we
Oh, you
really
wait.
starting to get squirrely there now. He's just come round the bow. Smeg, that's Smeg in the ferry wash.
Yeah, he can tack any
Big
time he
Pete
likes. He
can tack
needs to
there,
get
yep.
going, I think, though.
Needs to tack. Smeg's bailed out.
Yep.
So you'd say he'll probably be second. And Big Pete,
He leads, I think, Pete.
we're just getting a nice little bit of acceleration round Bradley's.
Yeah, the race to the pressure, you know, despite the line being a little biased to the women end, the first guy to more wind still wins a bit.
It's Rag and Famish going a long way in. Now he's tacked.
Yeah,
Tacking Price.
but he's tacking in the compression off the headland, Peter. There's a lot more wind right at the headland.
That's Noakes Youth. Just tacked.
And they've put themselves into a bit of danger
I
here.
think they've gone too far.
Noakes Youth. Big block of flats upwind of us.
Yeah, they've just run into the lead.
And so,
Big Pete leads from Smeg, Rag and Famish, and perhaps Yandu.
and we'd expect the boats with the big jibs, Yandu included, to go pretty well here.
Yandu put Rag and Famish about.
And Rag and Famish has seen how much compression there is at the headland and said, I'd like some more, sir.
Yep. Finport's starting to wriggle his way through.
Yep.
where's our friend in Marine Outlet with the big red?
He's out on the right edge. He did a horrible tack back on the port.
Okay, and the boat that's not well up is Andu. It's really a lot of traffic here at Bradley's Head. There's cruise boats, there's a catamaran.
The catamaran skipper does not have a clue.
No. I mean, really, get sick of saying it, don't we? Look at all this mayhem at Bradley's Head. There's a catamaran that's just wallowing. There's a so-called party boat just coming around the point. But anyway, the race goes on, and
so quite a bit of pressure just at the headline here and hard left.
So it's the Germans in Black Knight that have gone right into the lighthouse.
With Smeg.
With Smeg also, right on their gas.
So we're looking at the mid-fleet boats here to some degree. Good bit of pressure at the headland.
Big Pete coming back is leading. That's the old Noak symbol on Sean Langman's boat with Ed Powis and Reese Mara. Nice start for those boys.
And Noakes and Smeg 1-2 pretty clearly. Probably Rag and the Germans after that.
Oh, Birkenhead put around by Shaw and Partners. Oh, Shaw and Partners did a tacked off. Birkenhead have done a really wobbly old tack. They're in irons, and here's the Marine Outlet. Where's he going? Shaw and Partners is over.
Marine Outlet, wow.
Marine Outlet's got a duck behind the capsized boat.
Could have gone around the high side, but didn't.
Well, I didn't want to take the risk, Cam Gundy. So we're starting to settle down now. It was, as usual, chaos at Bradley's Head. So, Big Pete in Chowder, in Taylor Bay, coming out of Taylor Bay, and the majority of the fleet working out in the middle of the harbour. There's Big Pete, he's across Yandu.
Wow, Yandu pushing their luck here on the bricks anyway. See.
And that's Big Pete with Yandu going behind them.
Yeah.
That'd be, Big Pete will be first. The other boat that's starting to motor, we'll see him shortly, is Keegan York in Finport, the Australian champion.
Yeah, he looks pretty fast through the water again.
He does, doesn't he?
Yep.
We haven't seen him with his second rig as such.
Jib problem here on the Balmain Slate. Car's caught on something.
Yes, jammed to windward. There it is. They just freed it up. Bouncy water. So those boys are back a fair bit. They're probably deep teens. There's Yandu. And just above them is Finport. Yandu would still probably be ahead of Finport. Breeze is left here, Andrew, as they get into this left side of the harbour, as you predicted, the western side of the harbour. They're all taking big headers to come back into Taylor Bay.
It's a bit of a special case, Pete, isn't it?
Okay, these boats are in the sort of the middle of the pack, but here's Yandu, who's probably third or fourth. Finport just goes behind him. Yandu looking for the left-hander coming out of Taylor Bay. Hasn't quite got it yet.
And good left-handed pressure from the left edge.
But if we look, we've got a new leader, and it's not... when we get to them, we'll see who it is, but it's not Big Pete. She's being passed by a couple of boats. There's Finport just tacking now off Taylor Bay.
I think they tacked too early, Pete.
Yes, you can see
It's good pressure on the left, isn't it?
Plenty to go.
Anyway, he's got himself in the mix, Keegan, but there's the battle for the lead. Smeg now leads Big Pete, and right up their exhaust pipe is the Rag and Famish, and Yandu not out of it, and Finport coming into the picture. So it's the battle between the top five here.
Yeah, they've jumped everybody else to a reasonable degree, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah.
They have.
And as we thought, if Noakes is going to win a race with that setup they've got, today's a good day for them.
Well, the further these boats go on starboard, the more pressure they're going to come into. Right off Chowder Head, there's got some really good pressure. A lot of white caps popping up. Specs had to bail out. He couldn't live there.
Yeah,
So the rag will probably lead. Yandu's going out into midstream.
I think Big Pete's still in front. Yeah.
Well, there's the setup on Big Pete.
Let's have a look when they tag Jimmy. It might be pretty interesting. Big kill.
Pretty interesting if they get around the bow of this thing.
Oh, no, they got around the bow, right? The bloke's head to wind. So he's got no
There he
idea.
goes. And the two boat lines ahead of them, some really nice pressure. See Shaw just sitting in for the moment. Oh, struggling a bit. He just lost the puff there.
Yeah, need to go into the top high side of the points on this in this sort of condition.
This is
a little bit of compression at each point as they step up.
This is a good battle here.
Yep.
All going on port, with the exception, I think Yandu's coming back on starboard. He's obscured by Big Pete. So those that have just joined us, that's the Sean Langland's renamed boat. And there's Yandu. Yeah, Yandu's just dropped a boat length or 3 there. He's back in 5th spot.
So, Pete, they're all taking risks by going further right here because it's clear from our nice, easy viewing platform that the pressure is on the left.
Nice breeze in Chowder Bay, Clifton Gardens area. So I think that's what John Winning's seeing in Yandu, but Finport and Smeg have come back.
Yeah. And to be fair, the Rag and Famish boys doing a terrific job again. And we are to the western side of the whole fleet on the camera boat, about 200 yards left, and we've got about 2 or 3 knots more wind than they have in the middle of the harbour.
There's some really nice spiky bits in Chowder Bay,
Yeah.
where we're positioned, and that's what Yandu's gone looking for. He's steaming in, there he is.
And if we look up towards Manly, very high left, up.
Now, do you know why Woody's wearing a hat, Bucko?
No.
Do you know why, Jimmy?
No, give us a clue.
Because he's thinning out on top.
Thinning out on
He's
top.
getting a bit sunburnt there, the old fella. That's a true
I
story.
thought it was skin
true
cancers
story.
being cut off or something like that, but no,
he's
all right.
Getting a little bit tickled up on the head. But anyway, he's doing a pretty good job for
a young bloke.
young 70-year-old.
Yeah.
He'd be liking these conditions.
Finport's going to cross him though,
That's-
and he's struggling across Smeg.
He's got himself back into it.
Oh, Smeg had to duck him.
Okay. And now out in the middle, it's a race in between Frag and Famish and Big Pete.
But you can see, Pete, the guys who've come left to come out in front here. No
It's a big,
drama.
it's a big split.
Yep.
Well, Speg didn't go all that far, did he?
No.
He sort of got to it and
Want to get out in the tide, I guess, a little.
So, Finport's now got the choice. Almost on a ley line though, Pete, also. The breeze is so far left.
You think so?
Have a look upwind. Look at the guy lying up to the headland up there.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I like what I see up there. So Keegan the most left. Keegan's through.
If he's got enough grunt, he'll nearly get up to...
Gus Williams and Phil Marshall with him, but that's the 2 leaders. Now Yandu's got himself right back into play by going left.
yeah, well, you seen that earlier on when Smeg and Big Pete were together and Smeg had to tack off the damage that it caused by Smeg going right there.
Keegan will be now rigged dead soft and just waiting. Here he goes.
He's just got it now.
Yeah.
What's the breeze? 11 knots, Andrew? Perhaps maybe 12 at
Yeah,
best.
well, where they are
Norris.
right now, not even 11. I don't think, perhaps barely. So Big Pete still leads. And the Ragged Famish boys have done a good job, as we keep saying.
Well, I can see the Beechel boy in the distance.
Yep.
You tell me when he's on the low line, Andrew.
I'll be going,
pressure,
I'll
no
be going all
pressure.
the way to George's Head and having a shot. More or less what I think Noakes will do, yeah.
Well, there he goes.
Not quite all the way, but...
I don't know what happens here.
Well,
He's got to go behind the rag.
Yep, they'll be looking at the compression of the headline and going, we must stand into it, right?
Yes, you'd think so. They're getting really good pressure around
Yeah.
George's Head.
And these guys have been pretty cool. They don't rush
Yeah.
anything, do they? So we'll see.
No, it's all good. There he goes. So Smeg's gone right over to the right, as has Yandu.
Yeah, I don't think that's the correct answer, Pete.
It doesn't look like it from here, but who knows?
Ragged Famish now leads. I make this brave call.
Well, that's Cam Cove, Lang Point in the background. That's the great overhead shot. And there's all the contenders. Ragged Famish, Big Pete, Finport. Smeg's dropped off the pace slightly. He's back in 5th spot.
Yeah.
Andu not making much of an impression. Royal Oaks sort of back in 6th or 7th.
The one that I'm surprised we haven't seen up here is Marine Outlet with the big rig.
Big rig, yes.
No, I think they've come to grief somewhere, Jimmy. They did an appalling tack and then another appalling tack. And
gee, there's some bumpy water here, which will stay on Ragged Famish. You'll see you go through some big waves here. Powerboat driven, I'd say.
Yep.
From your expert opinion there, Pete?
I would say, yeah, powerboat driven by some super goose driving it. Cast the Western Channel pile, looking into Watson's Bay, Parsley Bay. And Big Pete's doing a nice job trying to get round the bow of Ragged Famish.
And Ragged Famish about to get into some more left-handed pressure.
Now, the bad news for Finport and Yandu, who are probably 3rd and 4th, is that they're lifting. They're not laying by any means, so they've got to come back at some stage on starboard. And there's a few little good spiky bits up here. It's probably 12 knots.
Ragged Famish close to laying, Peter.
Oh, do you think so? Well,
I said close.
I reckon Big Pete's close to laying.
They're getting good left-handed, tidal assistance.
Yeah, no, Ragged Famish is laying. I make that description.
He'd be holding his breath, but...
And extremely well judged beat.
So we've got the run down to Shark Island, which is always plays
and
tricks.
Peter, our old favourite, the Jibe set. How are we travelling, mate? You hooked up ready?
I'm ready to go.
Good.
Okay, Yandu's the first to bail out on starboard. And we'll stay with him at the weather mark and get the order. Finport's really starting to stamp a bit of authority on this race. He's not far out of the lead. He'll probably be just 3rd.
Yeah.
Big Pete's there.
Yeah, Big Pete's got there.
Big Pete
Good
lane.
job.
There you go. Well done.
Yeah, so he will lead.
But as we know,
And Finport will be close to 2nd.
You
He'll
can
get inside.
You can
Ragged
afford
Famish, there he goes.
You can
Keegan.
afford to overlay. Ragged Famish will be second.
Okay, there goes
at the mark.
sorry, Big Pete, Jibe set.
Jibe set. How about that, Peter?
Finport just inside Ragged Famish, 2nd and 3rd. Yandu will be 4th. And Smeg just got lost a bit up there.
Yeah, didn't take the dig back. Ragged Famish, beautiful job set.
He did a very good job. That's top crew of Ed and Reese.
Yep.
Finport, just a bear away set, same on Yandu.
Wrong answer from Finport here.
He's got to get on the other board quickly, I think.
Yep.
And here comes Smeg, not out of it by any means. He's in 5th.
But that's the cost of being the right-handmost boat for the second half of that beat.
Okay. James Doran in for Ricky Bridge, their Jibe setting.
So this will be a pretty compelling test here. Half the boats on port and half of them on starboard of the leaders.
Now, so 5 are around.
Big gap.
And now the 6th will be Lazarus, Marcus Ashley Jones. He's deep and buried early, so he's got himself out of a bit of trouble.
And then Black Knight.
Black Knight, our German friend. So Lazarus still in touch.
Yeah, no.
Black Knight doing a very good job.
We're back to Lazarus to get 4th, Peter, I think.
Okay, well, and now they've all overstood here because the tide's really given them some assistance, and especially the breeze going a bit left. So next around will be, after the Black Knight from Germany, will be the Royal Oak Four Pines. Alex Marinelli, Matt Doyle and Darcy McCracken, they're around. Followed by the Black Balmain Slate, Henry Larkins, Miles Davey and Flynn Toomey. And, they're just around the Jibe setting. Now, Kirk Mitchell in the Birkenhead Point is around. Then, Andu, wow, he's deep and buried.
Looking all out of shape.
Yes, and there's Simon Nern in the Burrawang Hotel. Dan Phillips and
Cam McDonald.
Pretty good, handy crew there. And who we got here just almost in irons is the 18-footer bar and restaurant. Fisher Pike will round the outside of them. And there they go. Burrowang is set and gone. So most have favoured the jibe set here, Andrew.
Yeah, and I think you'll see a big loss here to Finport and to the other guys that went.
Oh, the 18-footers in a little bit of trouble at the jibe set. As we're watching Noakes Youth.
Not much wind on the other edge, on the eastern edge.
And then our friend with the big rig, Jim, isn't it? Marine Outlet are next.
Marine Outlet.
Yeah.
So we can assume
Jamaica
that he's been on the riding lever, Peter,
Yeah, something's happened to him. And then bringing up the rear are the Kitchen Maker.
And Lazarus Capital, the
Lazarus
youth team.
Capital. And we haven't seen Hoffel House, have we?
They're right over off
Still coming up with.
Clifton Gardens.
Okay, so they'll be bringing up the rear. So we're away, downwind for the first time. The race on to Shark Island. And who won out of all of that? It looks like Big Pete's extended his lead.
Yeah, so, I mean, the beat is kind of, the run's the reverse of the beat. Got to go to the pressure at each headland, usually.
The ferry going up the middle of the track. There's Yandu with Bradley's head in the background.
And then thread the needle in a heading lightning pressure into Shark. Are you up for that one, Peter?
Well, I just want you to get the jibe angle right.
Yeah, I've got to get the jibe angle right.
Sure. The boat that's gone furthest to the right downwind is Finport. Hello. Big Pete's had another go. He's had another jibe to get out there. Another breeze way in the left.
And pretty soft, I think, in Rose Bay itself. And this is where the guys behind can game, watch what the leaders have done, and pick holes in the errors.
They can make some inroads. It's quite a soft run. You can see they're not anywhere near maximum pace or pressure down here. There's a bit of white water coming off the back of the rag. There's a bit more breeze out in the middle of the track.
So, and in this sort of wind, the jibe is actually quite expensive because the boats actually get off the plane.
Yeah.
And you have to accelerate again almost from dead slow.
Yeah, they're just struggling for pressure. There's Big Pete in the background. He leads. And he'd probably be on the lay line there, I would think.
Yeah, you'd think that Big Pete and the other boats on the leeward edge, Rag and Famish, are on the lay line. And the guys up here are going to have to jibe again.
And Finport and Rag having a good battle, and just jibing on the starboard off camera at the moment is Yandu. He's lost out a bit here.
Yeah, going to join the party.
See those Smeg and Yandu drop to 4th and 5th. There's Yandu. And that's him will be Smeg, but
Pete, that's quite a big gap now.
Yeah, that's 2nd and 3rd we're looking at. Rag 2nd, Finport 3rd. And they're about 60 metres behind the race leader, Big Pete, who are on the lay line, just about, I think, or maybe a bit above it.
And so there you go, the order.
Finport having to jibe back
Finport had to jibe back,
right.
started running out of pressure.
Okay.
And these other guys, VMG running.
The white spinnaker belongs to Big Pete. The black spinnaker, Rag and Famish. There's Big Pete. They're now getting a good little puff down the side of Shark Island. Just trying to work the 3 strings. Well, this is an impressive performance this early stage, Andrew, by Big Pete.
Well, I put the house on them, mate, so they better go well.
Well, it's a big gutsy call at this early stage, but a good performance early up.
Yeah.
Okay, they're really getting a nice little puff down the side of Shark Island, the famous Shark Island.
They're pretty well judged though, Pete.
Yeah, they won't want to get too many snarly ones down here, but at the moment it looks pretty nice.
Well, like I said, it's unusual, a heading and lightning breeze. Very difficult.
Yeah, there's not much breeze in Rose Bay where they're approaching.
Yeah, but nice lay. Just a bit hotter than VMG.
Yeah.
But nice lay.
So do you extend here a bit at the mark, or do you jibe a little,
Well,
Andrew?
I think you've got to go halfway at least.
Yeah.
The breeze in the east, compression against Point Piper, Pete. So, and a good puff to get them.
Really good puff. It's coming down to them.
Around the corner. Yeah.
So this perfectly judged.
Can't jibe back
Really
into the
good
wind
job.
shadow.
No.
Yep. That's A grade. And Ragged Famish comfortably second. Not too far behind.
Well, so far so good for Big Pete. He's extending around the mark in towards Point Piper. Rag and Famish, what about 20 seconds behind?
Good guess, Peter.
Yeah. And as we say that, just as they are around the mark, the leader has jibed onto starboard.
Yep.
And then a fair gap to third, which will be Yandu and Finport.
So conspicuously, those the two boats that came in on the deepest lay, so two less jibes than everybody else, and probably
Yandu's judged that pretty well. He's going to come down in third spot.
Yep. Well, he sneaked past Finport because Finport got a bit hot there, but still a long way to go, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah, no, Finport just overcooked it a little.
Yep.
Yandu almost perfect.
But typical of the
Oh, here comes Smeg and a screamer behind Finport.
typical of the volatility at this corner.
Oh, Smeg, hang on to a Doro. Oh, there we go. They're around.
Yeah.
So the order is Big Pete, Rag and Famish, Yandu, Finport, and Smeg at the jibe mark. And there's a few flapping spinnakers coming down here as this good puff rolls
There's
across
a
the
winding
fleet.
in the middle of all
Yeah.
that.
Okay, next will be Lazarus. They've got plenty on.
Yeah.
Then the Rag, and then the
So just a little spike, I think, in the overall wind strength here,
That's
Pete.
not the
No,
rag.
that's
the Black Knight.
Black Knight with the Rag spinnaker. Apologies there, that's right.
The German's having a good day
Oh,
out.
what's happened to Lazarus? They're dropping their spinnaker.
He might have gone the wrong side of the mark. I didn't actually see.
He's done something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gone the wrong side of the mark, Pete.
Did he? Couldn't get there.
Couldn't get
Okay,
there.
all eyes are on the boats
Yep.
ahead of him.
Yeah.
Gullmate Slate, they're in good shape. They're next around. Just as Breeze got up, and here comes Andu. He's around with a white spinnaker.
So as usual, Pete, the totem pole delivers.
Yeah, never lets you down, does it?
No. And for the viewers, back in the day, we used to use the cardinal mark on the corner of the island, which had some nice sharp bits of steel on it to jibe around it.
Well, that was the infamous totem pole, wasn't it?
It was more than
totem pole.
more than one spinnaker repair necessitated. And a heading and building pressure into the bottom here, Pete.
The Rag have got plenty on the right-hand boat. I'd say they're probably a bit lower the mark, are they? Yeah, they are. This freshening puff out of the left has taken them well below. It'll be an early drop. Although Rag's a bit higher, they've done pretty well up there. They'll be very close, if not in front of Big Pete.
Yeah, you'd think that Big Pete tried to take the chute down, wouldn't you?
You'd think so.
Here he goes. Oh, well, that's some good sailing from both boats there. Big Pete, I'm sorry, Rag will lead here, Peter.
Big Pete's just put the bow up. It'll be very close.
Oh, maybe Rag and Famish dropped a little bit early.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Big Pete's
sneaks
just
around the
gonna
front.
squeeze around. Close though.
Boat length in it.
And this will be interesting now. Breeze is up a bit.
So it's a drag race now.
Perhaps 14 knots, Peter.
Yandu hanging on to third.
Yep.
So it's probably a little rig breeze now. Sean Langman looking pretty casual.
Well, he's still got a crewman in the boat putting the spinnaker away.
Okay, Finport might have ducked into third here, just above Yandu. Now Yandu might have to give Finport room. Smeg's right up their exhaust pipe.
No, Finport will get the turn done, I think.
Yes, he will. So Finport third, Yandu fourth, Smeg fifth.
And
good battle for third here.
Yandu in dirty air.
Yeah, not a great place to live there. Have to put the pedal down and try and power out of that. Spec round. Oh. The breeze looks left here, doesn't it, Andrew? Look at the angle they're going out from this leeward mark.
And just 3 strings, Pete, so perhaps 12 to 14, no more.
Breeze in the probably north-northeast as the next lot come down.
It's turned left 30 degrees since the start on this part of the course.
Black Knight, they've put in another solid performance.
Well, they're
sixth.
They're good in shifty stuff, these guys.
They're good in fresh stuff a couple of weeks ago.
The German lake sailors, mate. All good.
Okay, they're nice and tidy. Well done. Henry Larkins is next in the Balmain Slake. Then Andu trying to impose themselves on the leading group, but long way back now.
And lots of dirt to eat.
Andu still got the spinnaker up.
I've got a knot in the halyard, it's called.
As the Royal Oak goes round inside them, Burrowang will be inside them as well. Andu's still got the spinnaker halfway up the mast, just coming down now. So they've let 2 boats inside them. Next around will be Birkenhead Point.
Hey, what's the points difference between Yandu and Smeg?
Well, Andu's on 43, Yandu 54, and Smeg on 54.
Right.
So it's a 11-point differential.
So he's just got to stay within 11 placings of them.
Yes, with no drops. That's right, Jimmy. So Lazarus, after having dropped his spinnaker and have to re-round the mark, he's got himself there or thereabouts as Marine Outlet just going round with his big rig. And the blue spinnaker coming down belongs to
18 footers.
18-footer bar and restaurant. And then kitchen maker behind him, Fisher Paykel. So you have to play the left again, wouldn't you? Okay, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think anybody gained anything on any part of that track on the right, did they? So
they lost, if anything, I think.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And you saw where they laid up to the Beecher Boy from. They laid up from the Western Channel Pile, more or less.
The tail end is going around the mark. So we're watching Andu. He's attacked early and.
That Hoffel House, they've just rounded Shark Island as we speak, Shippo.
The Hoffel House, okay.
But I think it's their first visit to the harbour, so.
And with a replacement crew
as
well, who's first time sailing a 18-foot skiff.
Oh, well, good stuff.
Notes Youth. And then Black Knight in the distance. So we're on the second beat. A VMG run, I would assume the next run back down to the leeward mark. Then we do the triangle. So I've got 2 solid beats left. And so still a lot of racing to be done in this final heat of the club championship for the 18s. Oh, there's not much wind pressure tack on the Big Pete.
Finport in front of Big Pete.
Finport, yes, clearly ahead there, Jimmy.
Yep. And everybody jumping hard on the left side this beat.
So I think the Rag and Famish are going to lead pretty clearly here. They've bounced off Bradley's head. And they've opened up a really nice lead. You'll see them shortly come across the bow of Finport.
Yeah. I mean,
Well advanced.
for the viewers, we're travelling straight behind Finport.
Okay,
And it's just 12 knots of wind, isn't it,
Yeah.
Pete? Just.
So-
And Rag and Famish crossing in front in what looks for every bit of 14 knots.
But Rag and Famish, gee, they've jumped away from
Yeah.
Big Pete.
Keep left, young man.
This is a very clear lead now to Harry Price. He's been coming good at the right time. He's been winning a few races, ticking the boxes.
So they expect to see them back on starboard fairly shortly, back to the next headland. Out ahead.
So Finport will be second. There's Smeg, he'll be fifth. But close to fourth, which is Yandu. That is Finport. Just see going astern of them is Big Pete and Finport tacking. And as we're talking, Rag and Famish is going right out into the middle of the harbour.
He's taking some risk there, Peter.
Stop listening to you, Bucko.
Well, he might have found, Jimmy, that the north-northeast flow is propagated across the harbour completely.
Yeah.
And that's what he looks like from where his bow is. So he'd be judging what the angle is and how much pressure he's got and saying, I'm safe here still.
Yeah, well, there he is at the moment. That steel point in the background. So
Yeah.
he's just tacking. Was he tacking? No, I thought he was tacking. Still going. He's on nice high left there.
Yeah.
And
So
see,
he's just lifting, isn't it?
coming round the bow of Big Pete.
Well, he does tend to sail high and slow. Here he comes, coming back now.
He's got
He still easily in the lead.
he can't let them go too far.
No, and he's lined up for Chowder Point, kind of. Finport doesn't mind a bit of adventuring either, in the ebb tide. So if they're confident, that they've got good flow, they can stand on. But if they don't have good flow, they have to tack straight away, more or less. And as we've seen, Pete, the breeze pretty volatile, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's up again here, probably 12 knots at best, but yeah, certainly 3 strings. See Keegan York, a new boat, won the Australian titles with it, and would be one of the leading contenders for the JJ. Gee, that Rag and Famish is motoring. He's opened up a really good lead here, Andrew.
yeah, once he's got 3 strings, he seems to be difficult to beat.
So I think he sees the breeze out towards Chowder Bay. It's really good pressure.
Yeah. And Finport, perhaps to some degree, just covering notes, I would expect as well. So
Yandu and Smeg come back on starboard, but all eyes at the moment on the race leader.
here we go.
Well, these boys were out training on Wednesday as well, and Coco said they didn't want to engage with them or anything, so they're obviously happy with where they're at, and they don't want to be
And
being
they've
a
got
dial-up partner.
the best breeze of the day here now, haven't they? It's a solid 12, 13 knots.
Perhaps even 14, Pete.
Yeah.
They just look like they're just in towards mid-range for the rig settings there. Still got some headstay sag, but boat looks lovely.
So they're going to run out of runway shortly, but I think they've done a pretty solid track up here.
Taking
Chowder Head.
very little risk with very few tags.
Come off to port and get high left.
So, Pete, how do you like that jib, mate? You all right? Take it back to the sailmaker or not?
I think it all looks pretty nice, wouldn't it? It's just, the performance dictates that.
Lovely. Kind of tack. We hit a rock there once, didn't we, Peter?
We did. There they go.
Good tack in a big bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Some little problem. Not sure what that is.
The man in.
Bit of board, getting a bit of board up, Pete.
Or down.
Oh, look, up, motion.
Looked like up, didn't it?
Yeah. They have really opened up a big lead, which we'll see when they get to the weather mark. If they can maintain this distance, I'd be close to 40, 50 seconds at least.
Almost a minute, I would. Just at a round figure guess. But here's the pathway, Peter, into the point, tack in the compression on the headland.
Do you go back in again if you're...
Yeah,
you
to
probably
the next,
do, don't you?
to the next headland. Ooh. Exactly, to the ley line on port. Do you remember where that was, Peter?
Yes, well,
about
almost
halfway between the white light and the headland, right?
So here's second place, Finport.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Keep going, Keegan, keep going. Good pressure coming to you.
Yep.
Just about to go. There he goes.
Great stuff, boys.
And it's still a good battle for second and third.
Well, there's now 3 boats beating each other up here, Peter. The Noakes, the Smeg and the Yandu.
Yeah, and... Okay, Yandu tacks.
Tacks in high left.
Yeah, lovely pressure coming around the point.
Yep. Up
Just
beauty.
Great sailing conditions now. The harbour relatively free of yachts. I can't say the same for powerboats, but it all looks pretty good. And that's Yandu having a good look at Finport, who's about 50 metres ahead. And up to windward is just tacking is Big Pete, Sean Langman, in a very impressive debut for Sean. And Smeg hasn't done what these other boats have done. He's got out of the middle of the harbour early. That's him top of screen. He'd be 5th.
Yeah, and I think he's going to give a bit more back by doing that, Peter, unfortunately.
So it's now a boat speed race. They're all on port, going out in the middle of the harbour. Great shot there of Big Pete. Almost in their pockets.
About to get a bit of dirty air off a big cruise boat.
Off the sea deck.
There's the squirrely bit.
It's a lull.
Okay, they're through that and elbows out and away they go.
Yeah.
And coming to more pressure. So that's a big good test here, Andrew, for boat speed, won't it? They're all got clear air.
Yeah.
And good breeze rolling down between them and the weather mark.
Yep. Relatively stable, non-arrest flow over the whole harbour now, I think. Subject to events at the totem pole and thereabouts, Pete. But they're not going around the totem pole this time, are they? VMD run.
Back down to the starting area.
All the way back. There we go.
In the cockpit with Sean Langman, Reese Mara and Ed Powers. There they go. Beautiful day. Look at that. Lovely white caps rolling in now.
But not really very windy, Pete. Just
no, it's just a nice mid-range sailing breeze.
Mid-range second sail at best, really.
Yandu's done well. They're absolutely matching Big Pete here. Probably a little bit higher. Trying to squeeze up on Big Pete.
A bit more left-handed air coming for Big Pete. On screen, John Winning, 70 years young, with Frank Warren and Josh Peretsky. Woody, the Seahorse Sailor of the Month.
Yep, well deserved.
Seahorse, the famous
So he's going to...
UK publication.
So we need a delta up here, Andrew, on Rag and Famish. He's not far off tacking to come in on the port ley line, but there he is. Good breeze now. So what do we do? Jibe set again, Andrew?
Absolutely. I'd say he's on a lane now.
Must be very close to attack.
Yeah.
3, 2,
No.
1 and a bit. Half. 3/8. Quarter. Come on, Harry.
No,
1/8.
he's overstood now.
Yeah, I think he's overcooked this, but easy from here.
Yep.
There he goes. Easy lay with the tide help him right to left. down, accelerate, slowly work up to the mark. And that's the battle for third, and in the background is Smeg in 5th place. There's Big Pete and Yandu. It'll be less than a minute, I think, here. Here we go. The rag is about 40 metres from the Beachell boy, the second time.
Yeah. A couple of bullets overstood, but that's okay.
All right. That's all right. No worries, just nice, easy bear away.
Yep.
There he goes. Look at that, what a great shot. Jibe, and straight into it. Good set too.
Oh, it didn't stand on the sheet, but
There it is.
Great set.
still pretty good.
That'll do me. Okay, and so
It's
they're
going to
away.
be 40 seconds, Peter, or thereabouts,
Yeah.
actually. So it looks like a long way once they set a shoot, doesn't it? Just
Yeah, well, here comes Keegan York and his team in Finport. Gus Williams and Phil Marshall, they're around. What's that, Andrew? 35?
35, yeah.
Oh, Keegan.
That's not so good, mate.
No, not the greatest rounding.
Give back 5 seconds just by that.
Okay, Big Pete will have to give way to Yandu here. Yandu will attack inside him to be third. And Big Pete
And
4th, close.
Woody's now got that hard job of the tack and bear.
Tack and bear away. Was a bit more stability on the Big Pete. Get that jib off end. There you go. Oh. These two old fellas, Sean and Woody, they're doing a pretty fair job, but another veteran campaigner, another former JJ winner comes round next in Michael Cox in the
Sean,
Smeg.
the ultimate down-speed jibe, and is going to pay the price here.
Oh, hang on to it, boys.
No, they
saved it. How have they?
Only saved by the little rig.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That was close on the
Yeah.
Big Pete, but Yandu got the job done and jumped away in a clear third.
Yeah.
Probably lack of time in the boat, you'd say, there for the Big Pete boys. So that's the 5 around. Bragg and Famish, Finport, Yandu, Big Pete and Smeg. Next around will be our German friends in the Black Knight, Heinrich Bayen, Tom and Andy Martin.
And the Smeg with a nice wine glass. Does not want to come out. They're probably going to have to drive or flap it out.
No, they got it. They got it.
Flapped it out. Okay.
Balmate Slake will be after the Germans, then the Burrowang, then Andu, then the Birkenhead and the Royal Oak. Following them will be Lazarus, remembering they had to drop their Spinnaker and go and reround the Giant Mark at Shark Island, so they are way out of the picture at the moment, but all eyes are on Big Pete.
Just avoiding some of your mates' wash.
Just remembering this is a big run back to Clark Island now. VMG run, then one more beat and then a run to the finish via Clark Island. Traditional Manly ferry in the middle of the fleet. So all the boats going into Taylor Bay before they jibe. There's Smeg. holding down 5th spot. James Doran on the sheep, standing in for Ricky Bridge. It's getting a nice ride here, the boys. We're out the cockpit of Yandu, now's Big Pete. A bit softer as they get into the bay here, and
Yeah, so there might be some options. It looks like it's getting a bit squirrely on this edge. I'm not sure how that works, but
Finport's jibe out. He's got good pressure.
yeah.
Yandu's going way in here before they jibe. You can see them in the background, just jibing now. There they go. Down pressure, that's for sure. It's up and down, isn't it? This wind pressure. Finport really bow up down there.
So Pete, Ragged Famish appear to have gained significantly.
Wow, they've opened right up. But anyway, we're on the battle for 3rd.
Wow.
That's about to jibe. And they've dropped a bit behind Yandu. See Yandu across them in a moment. Yandu continues to hold 3rd spot, but meanwhile that's the race leader.
Ragged Famish look like they might be a full minute ahead now. Lying down at the bottom. Riding with Finport just near the Bradley's head. So
There's
forward to
Rag
Mark.
in the background. So that's the distance.
And Rag well down towards Clark.
Would you like me to do the timing, Bucko, this time? Because I've been given today a brand new Rolex watch. How about that?
But you didn't bring it with you.
I haven't got it in my bag.
The timing.
Official timing part.
What was the occasion for the gift that you turned 100?
What was that?
What was the occasion of the gift,
here we
Peter?
Well, a bloke gave it to me in the park.
90th birthday or something, mate.
Don't be rude. The bloke gave me, he said, you're the only bloke I can trust to mind my Rolex watch today.
There you go.
But you know who it was?
Have to fill us in, mate.
Jimmy, you should know.
Rolex.
Very flashy Rolex watch. I think I'll go home.
Wouldn't be Keegan's. He's got.
No,
He'd
not
have them
Keegan,
all locked
wrong.
up at home.
Wrong boat.
From the Celestial, perhaps.
No.
Are we getting closer or further away?
No, it's miles away.
Miles away.
Okay, we're just concentrating on the
Rolex is
leader.
too flashy for Woody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the Ragged Family. She's got the job done. Let's get the timing going, Andrew.
Well, I'm waiting to see the alleged Rolex.
I reckon the Black Knight.
No, I don't know those blokes well enough.
Well, what was it? Services rendered on the float last night or something? Payment.
This is Finport running down in 2nd.
Comfortably second too, Pete.
Dude,
Yeah.
a Rolex. The Sean Langman would
No.
probably have one.
There you go, Jimmy.
There it is. What's it got written on the back of a bucko?
Nothing.
Bugger. All right, you got a stump now, Shippo.
I thought you'd know, Jimmy. Anyway, we'll concentrate on the race and let you blokes sort it out. Yandu going for third. It's tightened up again for third. Big Pete and Smeg probably just behind Yandu. Okay, there's Big Pete jibing to come in on starboard lay line, perhaps. He's dropped to fifth, Big Pete.
I've seen you hanging around the Smeg trailer. Does that give it anything?
Perhaps.
So, Doro.
Who?
James Doran.
Correct.
There you go.
He said, you're the only bloke I can trust. I would no more give it to Bury or Buckland.
I've sat with him for how long and I get nothing.
No, couldn't trust you.
No, I know he wouldn't trust me.
So Pete the margin 135.
Wow, gee.
So the Rag's given him a nice old touch-up on that run.
He has, hasn't he? Finport a clear second and a real battle for third. Here it is. Yandu will lead just there. Just
No, it's a big fight.
they're all coming down square. Oh,
Yeah,
softly
they're
here.
all a bit overstood.
Yeah, but Yandu will get around.
Breeze soften
First-
in the left, Smeg in a bit of bother, low speed. Yandu's got him dusted.
Yeah.
They get her in the bag. Josh sticking her in, dial her up.
Yeah,
good.
Nice job. Nice job on the Smeg.
Well behaved.
Yeah, and also a good job on Big Pete. Gee, this is a good battle.
Amazing,
Smeg
isn't
in
it?
an ugly position there.
Yeah.
Someone's got to extract himself.
So that setup on the Big Pete still looks too deep, doesn't it? Jimmy, just...
I'm wondering if they got, like, you know, you tried to explain to us how many adjusters for the adjusters he's got on it. Like,
Yeah.
if he can pull that out down the bottom, like,
Don't know, mate.
I don't know how, but
It's in a different postcard to the rest of the fleet, is what I can tell you,
yes.
depth-wise. Oh, well.
And Balmain Slake's got himself into sixth. Got it jumped ahead of our friends from Germany and the Black Knight. That's them with a purple rag spinning it. And Simon Nern, just off screen, will be next, and then Andu. What's the breeze, Andrew? It hasn't, still around 11, 12, is it? A bit more, perhaps?
Yeah, just a little more on the compression of the headland, but subdued would be the one word down the bottom here. Perhaps 14 at the headland.
These other blokes are going to have to really do some homework over the next 4 days to try and catch on to the rag, aren't they?
Yeah, the rag's an awkward time of them to ask the question, isn't it? They've been pretty solid. And at times they're making it look easy, aren't they, really?
Well, I think the thing we've
Just we
seen
go
certainly
past Pete Caligras from Rag and Finish.
since Christmas is that he's starting very well. You know, he's right on the button at the start and jumps out. He's almost a boat length ahead at the starting line. And that has paid huge dividends for him. And he gets himself up there, and then he just seems to have the speed to keep on keeping on at the moment. As we're watching Yandu tack, trying to hold down third spot. And that's what he's seeing way up ahead is the rag going into Shark Island this time.
So now I think for the rag, you just lose cover, Pete, and it just staying, you know, where the pressure is. He's not going to get too stressed, I don't think. Still a good battle for third, fourth, fifth, as you
That's
point out. But
Finport right down in the distance, trying to hang on to second, but Rag and Famish just jump right away. So you'll see Big Pete take the stern of Yandu. He took the stern of Smeg. So it remains as it did at the leeward mark. Yandu third, Smeg fourth.
we might
And
have
Big Pete
remind
fifth.
Cocker that port is not the right of way tack. Do you think?
Coming into good pressure here, Big Pete.
Yeah.
So Sean will probably extend up to Bradley's as much as he can.
Looking at the line he's on, he can almost I think he can get all the way in there to wherever he wants to.
You'll get a bit of tide helping him.
So the breeze now closer to being true northeast. So the heat's gone out of the sun, a little bit of overcast, and the breeze is now a little funnel down the middle. Back to sort of 030 funneling northeast.
Yes. It's just 4 o'clock Sydney time, Eastern Daylight Time.
Yep.
And yeah, the breeze is nothing extreme here by any means, is it?
No.
So it's going to be a close cross between Smeg and Big Pete, but Smeg's at cross. Also with starboard tack rights.
He's going to have a little duck, I think, Pete.
Oh, he's a genius. If we can get him on camera, look at this bloke. Oh, brilliant. Great work, mate. Terrific.
That is pretty clever, isn't it?
Yeah, that is really good seamanship. Yeah. We got torpedoes, Jimmy, on this thing.
And Pete,
We can have them installed. By,
could you get some
torpedoes, if you like.
And
I'm happy to fire the gun.
in breach of the regulations too, and this bloke as well.
Yeah, another complete fool. Jeez, we could get rid of some torpedoes, Jimmy, for you.
Have to go over to the old HMAS Platypus and see if they've left any of the left
ones
lying around in the old torpedo factory.
Geez, the Smeg not mucking around here.
No, he's
Put the landing wheels down, boys.
oysters for dinner.
Yep. Holy mackerel.
I think they've given themselves enough room from the onset of the breakers here.
Yeah.
Got good pressure. Still, Yandu hangs on to third. Gee, Rag and Famish just doing his own thing, isn't he? So far ahead. He just kept on keeping on.
Well,
Shore and partners there.
Yeah, well, not having a good day. Well, we saw them capsize, didn't we?
been on the riding lever, mate.
After up the first beat of Bradley's head, and gee, he's a long way back.
So, Pete, just think though, I mean, James Doran obviously extremely capable, but it's still a change of lineup, isn't it? And they had achieved pretty good stability with Ricky Bridge in there in the middle. Not a bad effort.
Yeah, it's always difficult when the combination gets broken up. So it'll take a bit of time to work into a combination as
Prior,
such.
Peter, we would have said that Smeg and probably Rag and Famish were the two most reliable boats in terms of the combination and so forth.
Well, that's Finport going out on port in the middle of the harbour. There's Yandu just in the lee of that yacht. So Yandu going into Taylor Bay again, trying to look for the lefty.
Yeah, but the breeze softer now on the left edge, Peter, by the look of it.
Yeah,
So,
Yandu's bailed out.
a bit less use, some good compression against each headland, but gaps between where there's less air.
There's a lot of gaps in this breeze, isn't there? There's puffs and then real hollows in the breeze. Well, Yandu's just jumped away from Smeg and Big Pete. Smeg's got himself in the mix.
I think Smeg might end up third here, Pete, eventually. Big Pete just not quite fast enough uphill as its three strings. Smeg round his bow there, I think, to a degree. Still got to keep punching left here, I think.
Well, Finport's punching right.
Yeah, they don't mind a bit of risk.
No, he's gone into Steel Point. There he is, just coming on the screen there.
Yeah.
Going right into Steel Point, old Keegan.
And Rag and Famish commanding loose cover on the left 1/3.
He sailed a very smart race, Harry Price,
Well,
which he's done most of the year. I mean,
he's got good speed, and
I think it shows he's done a lot of sailing in various classes, and it certainly helps to keep him in tune.
well, and they've been working hard on all the aspects, you know. So some funny, spiky stuff.
The back of screen, there's Wolf House.
The Hoopful House.
Hopeful House.
There he goes. Hang on, old boys.
Well, they're going to get around.
Yeah,
Pete. It's a good day out.
There's Finport just tacked.
Off in the far left of screen there. And he looks fast enough too, doesn't he?
Yeah. And we've seen him pretty good in the light air, big sail rig. So now we're lining up Big Pete.
So good look at this rig. If we can look at the top as well, guys, that'd be good. Yep. Thank you, Pierce. So the big and fat all over, really. Head of the mate's nicely loaded though. Jib is, for a number 2 rig, Jib, rather zesty. Still, they're in the race, but still a little deeper than everybody else.
Three leaders all on starboard tack now, going back to the left. That's the Rag and Finport, first and second respectively. And again, as we've seen each time up here, it's a little bit more spiky up here. Touch more, a couple of knots more breeze.
Yeah, genuine second sail now in this part of the track.
Comes the parade of powerboats from Manly area coming back home, causing a bit of havoc.
Finport just probably last time on starboard up this beach, so not too far to go. If they go to the left edge here, they'll probably be close to the ley line to the windward mark.
There's the Armada coming down like D-Day. Here they all come.
I think the D-Day Armada was a bit bigger actually, Peter.
Probably was.
Probably was.
Probably more sensible, which wouldn't be hard.
That's not that high Armada.
No.
Certainly better organised and better thought out.
Yeah, they
Okay,
go.
there's the Finport.
Wow.
He needs a nice left-hander here, but meanwhile, Rag and Famish way in the distance and going in towards Watson's Bay. There he is with that bright red sign writing on his sail.
Oh, the Rag just ignoring everybody now.
Yes, he's just doing his own thing, and Yandu's comfortably into third.
So where'd the Smeg get to, Pete?
He's in here behind
Behind Noakes, just
At
around
Big
to the right
Pete,
of screen.
so-
Having
He's
a
off
fight
camera,
with
so-
Big Pete.
So it's a battle for fourth, really, now, you'd think. Yandu's jumped nicely out into third. And there they are, there's Yandu.
So bits of wind here which are barely 10 knots now.
Yeah, they'll be struggling for pressure here. How far will Yandu go? There's some really good pressure coming around George's head. No, there he goes. He's got a nice left-hander, Yandu. He's got a ripper. As has Finport up ahead of him.
You'd have to think that Finport might have gained a bit on the rag in that last bit of the beat. The breeze is back to a pretty hard left up the top here. But Finport had enough lead, they didn't probably not get too concerned about it.
So this is the final weather mark we're approaching, and the run to Shark Island, the jibe, and then into the finish. At the moment, Rag and Famish leads. Yandu on camera, third. Finport, second. George's head in the background. There's Finport, just the Western Channel white light or pylon. You'd nearly be laying a weather mark with that left-hander, and they have closed up on Rag and Famish. You're right, Andrew. Yeah. Still a nice lead, but he's probably really gobbled into it here, Finport. It's probably not enough to make things interesting, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, Rag and Famish overstood reaching in. But that's the joy of leading, Peter, with a nice cushion, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Breeze in the left up here at the weather mark. That's sure.
Finport
laying. Yeah. Behind him, Yandu laying as Rag and Famish goes round the weather mark for the last time. Jibe set again. This has been a pretty polished performance so far from these guys. Josh McKnight and Harry Hall, along with Harry Price. They're on their way to Shark Island.
Josh, for the viewers, you know, former world and Australian moth champion, in fact current Australian moth champion. And I think...
Okay, they're on their way.
And Harry, runner-up in the Australians in the moth as well, so a bit of a contest between the crewmates.
It's Finport.
So she's a 1 minute
Around.
lead, so,
1 minute,
so
okay.
they go back a bit. And
still a nice lead.
I don't think I'd be too worried.
Finport has jibed. And he'll be about 35 seconds ahead of Yandu. Still within striking distance. And good breeze here now. Best of the day at the weather mark.
I think you're getting a bit tricked though by the water from the powerboats, Pete.
Yeah, but
just rough as. You know, waves going in all directions relative to the wind. Let's see how Woody goes on the Barraway. If he gets it done easily, it's not windy, right? He got it done easily, it's not windy.
So Yandu off camera's around third.
Yeah.
Big Pete will be fourth.
Rocking away downwind.
Oh, Yandu. Okay, good set from those boys.
So I put the kiss of death on the Smeg, obviously.
So he'll be fifth with Big Pete. He's around in fourth spot. It's Big Pete, Sean Langman. He's fourth. And they've all jibe set. All 4 litres, 5 litres of jibe set. And then a long gap then to the 6th place, which is probably Andu, I think. Jimmy, is it?
Yeah,
Got
that's
himself
what
up
I
there?
was just working out in my head.
Or Balmain Slate, perhaps. They're very close. And the Germans are up there as well, so tied for 6th. that Finport that's capsized? Can't see them anywhere. Maybe it's
I think it is. I can't
have
see
a-
him upright. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Finport have capsized while in second place.
Wow.
So it moves Yandu into second. Finport are up. We didn't see what
You
happened.
still might be on here for Smeg for third, Bucko.
Well, that was a bit of a surprise. Nothing too extreme in the breeze, but obviously something went up.
Probably one of those lovely mines that your powerboat friends pick up for them.
Yeah, making a powerboat wash pile of Pete. And Dragon Family's just jived in St Van Seaway as well in front of us.
So that changes things a little with Yandu now second. So that'll make the margin quite significantly bigger if Spragg and Famish can maintain this lead, which you probably have to think the way he's been sailing he will, but who knows. There's the chasing pack, led by Yandu, Big Pete and Smeg. Most of the boats on the lay line, and there's Dragon Famish, probably just a bit above it, but you'd probably allow him some good puffs coming out of Rose Bay to just see the jibe mark down the leeward of him. He's bow up at the moment.
Just cruising in, Pete, VMG run.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely as. Only problem that he's got in front of him is a bunch of cruiser type vessels. Might have a bit to do.
One crew sitting in, two on the wire. He's coming into a bit of soft spot here.
Yeah,
Don't worry him too much.
he can afford to not be at full load here for a minute. Probably do 2 jibes on the bottom reach here.
I think he'll jibe as soon as he can and get across. He's just looking for a bit of gust coming over the hills at Rose Bay. Can't see it quite yet.
We're paralleling with him, only doing 11, 12 knots, so it's not much.
Not much. Yeah, another line of pressure coming to him now, Pete, so he'll wait for that, I think, before he jibes.
Before he jibes,
And that'll probably set him up to get around the back of that big catamaran in front of him. Sorry, viewers, off screen, but
just got that gust now.
50-foot cat.
Riding into it. Just extending. He's well round the mark.
What's he going to do on this catamaran, guys?
I think the cat, I don't know, I'm sure he's in...
Captain Larry's parked himself right in front of the cat, telling him what to do.
He'll go behind. Well, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, no, he's going to go behind him.
The rag will go behind. Oh no, the cat stopped.
In front of the man.
Put the brakes on. Well, that's a nice lay now through to the finish. It looks as though he'll almost do it in one now.
Yeah.
If the breeze maintains. Still hunting a bit of pressure. Just going along the Point Piper foreshore. So when you would think the final heat of the club championship, and probably Andu will, if positions remain roughly the same, will take this year's club championship with Yandu second and Smeg third, but just let's see how they go at the finish. Just lovely shot there of the rag. Plenty of pressure.
On the low road past Point Piper.
Yes, as often happens here. As often happens.
A few potholes to avoid.
But a very, very solid performance by the Rag and Famish. Which has been solid all year, but he's really done an outstanding job today. Sailed very smartly, tactically, and boat handling has been outstanding. Everything you want going into the JJs, Andrew.
Yeah, I was just thinking, not too much, not too many chinks in the armour, and they've shown they can win the race for this rig downrange and right at the top. So I don't see too many people being able to beat them in second rig if we get much of that in the Giltman. Big rig might be a different story, but it's a pretty convincing display, Jimmy, isn't it?
That's an incredible display. Like second place, just sort of around now, aren't they? Around Shark Island.
Yeah, and they've cruised around the last lap, to be really honest.
Yes.
Were you allowed to cruise around the last lap with on the 7, mate?
No, we always wanted to be 3 minutes in front in case we found a pothole, you know. But yeah, there was just a tiny bit of release of accelerator. You're absolutely right.
Okay, they're almost at the finish now. 30 metres to go, laying in perfectly. See the committee boat in a moment. There they go. Well done, Rag and Famish. Top class performance that. That was really impressive. Very well done to Harry Price and his team.
Josh McKnight on the main sheet and Harry Hall on the bow. Error free.
You got the time running, Andrew.
I have, Peter.
You've got a lot to do, I know that.
Yeah.
But remembering that Finport, who was quite clearly in second spot, had a capsize, just running downwind, and they're back up and running, but they're a fair way back. So it's opened the door for Yandu and Big Pete and Smeg to come in and fill the minor spots. And it'll be Yandu that will be in second spot. Well, he's Mr. Consistent, if nothing else.
He's past the pothole territory, but still
just a nice...
A little on the low side of the low line.
Easy.
No worries, Pete.
No worries.
Oh, right.
Whoops. Hang on.
Splash. Whoops. Yeah. So not too much, only a couple of bow lengths separating. Oh, he's got
a bit on now.
End of the wing, Woody, come on. Ripping into the finish. 5 boat lengths lead over Big Pete.
Yeah, and about 10 boat lengths again to Smeg, but Yandu will be second. Just coming up now to the finishing line. What's the delta? Minute and a half?
Minute 40, I'd give it.
Okay. Yandu second, Big Pete third, Smeg fourth. And did Finport get up, Jimmy? I thought I saw him coming down.
They're up there. Next down with the with Black Knight following them. They just rounded the wing mark or Shark Island.
So I'd say a respectable showing from the Smeg with Doro in on the main sheet in place of the injured Ricky Bridge. Not that easy a task.
They can only get better if Ricky is out and Doro.
Doz is still getting used to doing the main, you know, like he's always
sure.
skipper. So
it's not easy just to jump in and hope it all clicks. So it would be a good hit out for them, and they were there and thereabouts all race. So Finport, well, they'll have a story to tell. We don't know what happened to them, but we know they capsized, went clearly in second place. So it can happen to the best of them.
And the breeze actually building a bit here, Pete.
Yes, it is. Freshest speed on the day.
So late in the day, 4:30 nearly. The finish obviously delayed by the delayed start on the occasion of 2 general recalls.
Finport just sliding past Point Piper. And then the first of the Germans will be in 6th spot, that's Black Knight.
They don't count for the points when you're tallying them up either.
And then
Red
Andu, and then Lazarus. He's wriggled his way through a little bit. Marcus Ashley Jones got ahead of the Burrowang, but there's the German friends on the Black Knight going down in 6th spot. So Yandu's 7th by my calculation. We'll give him the club championship, which shows consistency throughout the year. And he'll just beat his father, John Winning Senior. So there's a close finish. Finport 5th, Black Knight with a purple chip 6th, Andu 7th, and then Lazarus 8th, and then Burrowang 9th. It's the Burrowang, Dan Phillips, Cameron McDonald and Simon Nern. Just a nice run into the finish. Yep, so that's the order.
Handy filling crew there on the Burrowing, isn't it?
It is a very strong crew for Simon Nern.
And then right behind the camera cat is Balmain Slate right up our tailpipe, Shippo.
Balmain Slate boys, yeah, their best performance for a while. So as the club championship season winds down, we await now the big one, the jewel in the crown, the JJ Giltinan, which commences next Friday with the invitation race. So we're watching the Royal Oak with the green spinnaker and Birkenhead Point, the black spinnaker, hammering towards the finish. And I think, Jimmy, you're just pointing out Shaw and Partners just gone round the weather mark, the red spinnaker. Tough day for those boys.
A bit to do, a bit to do.
House of Mirrors.
Yep.
So the Royal Oak will be 11, Birkenhead 12, and then following there's the Royal Oak.
No
13th, yeah.
And then 80-footer Bar and Grill.
Yeah. Well, it's been a lovely day, a very clinical, solid, outstanding performance by the winner, Rag and Famish, Harry Price, in control most of the way, and just as the race went on, the better he got and opened up. Finport was there or thereabouts until he capsized on the last spinnaker run to finish 5th. But the consistent Yandu was 2nd, Big Pete, Sean Langman 3rd. I think he'd be happy with that performance for the first real hit out for him. Smeg with new crew on board. James Doran standing in for the injured Ricky Bridge was 4th. 6th was the Black Knight from Germany, Andu, with replacement crew in 7th. Lazarus 8th. Burrowang 9th. Balmain Slate 10. The Royal Oak 11 and the Birkenhead 12. So we're just wrapping up here, and reminders it's all on next week. Friday is the invitation race for the JJ Giltinan, and there on screen you can see the calendar, what's coming up. Next Saturday is the first heat, then Sunday the second heat, lay day Monday. Tuesday is 2 races, same on Wednesday, 2 races, then 1 race on Thursday, day off on Friday, and then the following weekend heats 8 and 9 to find the winner of this year's JJ Giltinan. So I think we'll say good afternoon on behalf of the team. We thank again the technical boys from Sale Media who've done a fantastic job, some great shots. I know everyone appreciates the coverage you're getting, and it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes to get it and bring it to you. So thanks to those guys. To Jimmy Bury, thank you. Andrew Buckland, thank you. Look forward to your company next week. So on behalf of all the team, we look forward to your company next Friday. Peter Shipway saying good afternoon from Sydney Harbour.